I want to start off today by reviewing your bell ringer from yesterday. We didn't have any part of the videos yesterday that went over those. So get your crosswalk workbooks back out, and if you still have your sheet that your bell ringers were on from yesterday, get that out. If not, just go ahead and get a clean sheet and rework them today. So go ahead and pause and let's get all that stuff out and ready. Okay, the good thing about the crosswalk workbook problems is that they're multiple choice. Okay, so if you are still a little bit shaky on even a two-step equation like what we have here, then we've got answer choices that can be plugged in for the variable. Okay, that's one of the advantages of a multiple choice question. So let's say I had absolutely no idea about how to go about solving this equation. Well, I know that the solution is the value of the variable that gives me a true statement. So what I can do, instead of actually solving this the way that we've been doing, I can take my answer choices and plug them in for x one at a time and see which one gives me a true statement. And this is kind of the same thing as the way that we would check these normally. Okay, so for answer choice A, I have 72 times 6 plus 7 is equal to 223. Now, if this is the correct answer, then I'm going to get a true statement here. Okay, so first we do 72 times 6 and get 432. Okay, well, when I add 7 to 432, that's not going to be 223, right? So I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and I know that A is not the correct answer. Move on to answer choice B. X is equal to 4. Well, if x is 4, that's going to look like this. 72 times 4 plus 7 is equal to 223. And if this is the correct answer, I'll get a true statement. 72 times 4 is 288. And again, that's more than what I have over here, so I don't really have to go any further than that. I already know that these two sides are not going to be equal. So I'm going to stop right there. I know B is not my answer, and I'm going to move on to the next answer choice. X is equal to 3. Plug that in for the variable here. 72 times 3 plus 7 is equal to 223. Check and see if that gives you a true statement. 72 times 3 is 216. Okay, so it at least has a chance here. Plus 7 equal to 223. 216 plus 7 is 223, and I end up with a true statement. Okay, so answer choice C is the correct answer for number 1, because when I plug in 3 for the variable in my original equation, I end up with a true statement. And you can do this. This is a valid method of working problems when you have a multiple choice question. And let's move on to number 2. I'm going to do the same thing here with number 2 that I did with number 1. I'm going to plug in my answer choices and see which one gives me a true statement. A is equal, answer choice A says G is equal to 20. So I'm going to come to my original equation here. I'm going to plug in 20 for G and see if I get a true statement. Okay, from here I'm using my order of operations. I have to do division before I do subtraction. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 minus 6 is equal to 4. Okay, so I get a true statement there, and I don't have to go any further. I already know my answer is A there. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you run into a multiple choice question with an equation. If you look down at the equation and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea even how to begin this, then just take your answer choices, start plugging them in, and see which one gives you a true statement. That is always a valid way to go about solving an equation with a multiple choice type question. Number 3, we're going to go ahead and use the problem solving process that we've been using up to this point. Just kind of get a little bit of review heading into today's lesson. So I've got a variable on each side here. So I want to get rid of it on one side. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to get rid of the negative 7u by adding 7u. If I do it to the right, I have to do it to the left as well. That goes away. Your plus 7 is going to come down. Equal sign stays on the line. 7 plus 1 is 8u. And your negative 9 or your minus 9 comes down. And now I have a two-step equation. I'm going to undo the subtraction first by adding. So negative 9 plus 9 cancels. The 8u comes down. 9 plus 7 is 16. Now I have a one-step equation. I undo the multiplication by dividing on both sides. That leaves me with u is equal to 2. Looking at my answer choices here, that is answer choice A. Alright, moving right along to reviewing last night's homework. Let's go ahead and have that out on our desk and get ready to go over that. So we can pause here while everybody gets out your homework, pencil, calculator if you don't have it already, and get ready to review your homework. Okay, so you had 2 through 5, and basically these are all the same, where you've got a fraction to be distributed on one side and a whole number on the left, or a fraction to be distributed on both sides. So for number 2, first order of business here is to distribute the 1 over 4 and distribute the negative 2. Okay, so this is going to give me 8x over 4 when I multiply these two together. So I'll go ahead and show you that first line of work here in the first problem. And then 1 over 4 times 40 is going to give me 40 over 4. And then on the right side, I have negative 2 times x and negative 2 times 3. So this is what I end up with after I distribute. Now my 8 over 4 is going to reduce to a 2x, and my 40 over 4 is going to reduce to a 10. Okay, now this is exactly like the last bell ringer problem that we've just worked. Variable constant on one side, variable constant on the other side. So my next order of business is get rid of the variable on one side or the other. Does not matter which. I'm going to get rid of the negative 2x by adding 2x to both sides. So that's going to leave me with a minus 6 on the right side. 2 plus 2 gives me 4x, and your plus 10 comes down. Now I have a two-step equation. Subtract 10 from both sides. That's going to cancel. Leaves me with 4x is equal to a negative 16. My last step there is to divide by 4 on both sides. That's going to cancel, and negative 16 divided by 4 is a negative 4. Alright, number 3 is done exactly the same way. Okay, so I'm going to kind of skip a couple of steps there to kind of speed this process along so we can get everything in that we need to get in today. And as always, when you have distribution that needs to be done, that's always going to be your first order of business. I can't do anything before I distribute. So distribute your 1 over 6 and your positive 7. This is going to give me a 12 over 6, which reduces to 2x. And 1/6 times negative 36 is going to give me a negative 6. Over here, I'm going to end up with a 7x plus not 86, 84. Okay, then get rid of the variable on one side or the other. Does not matter which. This is going to bring down your negative 6. 7 minus 2 is 5. Your 84 comes down. Okay, so get rid of your 84. 5x comes down. Negative 6 minus 84 is negative 90. And then undo the multiplication by dividing by 5 on both sides. Negative 90 divided by 5 is, let's see, negative 18. Alright, and then 4 and 5 are done basically the same way as well. The only difference here is that you have fractions that are being distributed on both sides instead of a whole number on one of those sides. So we got 1/4 being distributed and 1/3 being distributed. This is going to be 4 over 4, which is 1x, 12 over 4, which is 3. 1/3 times 2 is going to give me 2/3 x, plus 3 over 3 is going to give me a 1. And now this is something that we haven't ran into yet. After we distribute it here, we still have a fraction left. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways that you can tackle this issue. The way that we're going to choose to do it right now is to take the entire equation, put it inside a set of brackets, and we're going to multiply it by 3. Okay, because if I multiply this by 3, then the denominator is going to be canceled and the fraction is going to go away. And we're going to get more practice with this in the next couple of days. So this is just distributing, same way we've been doing all along. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2/3, you're going to get a 6 in the numerator and a 3 in the denominator. Okay, 6 over 3 is going to reduce to 2x. That gets rid of the fraction, which was the purpose behind this in the first place. And then 3 times 1 is going to give me 3. Okay, now again, I'm back to this variable constant on the left, variable constant on the right. Get rid of the variable on one side or the other. And this is going to leave me with x plus 9 on the left side and 3 on the right side. And then subtract 9 from both sides. Your final answer here, x is equal to negative 6. Okay, so this is a little different than anything we've seen thus far. Okay, but don't worry about it too much just yet. We're going to get more practice with this step in the next couple of days. Okay, let's scroll up to number 5. And you know what, I'm running a little tight on time here, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to another video, but just hang with me.